Most serial killer investigations begin with a missing person, a suspicious phone call, or a body discovered by chance. This one started with a routine drug arrest. Police believed they were dealing with another ordinary narcotics case. A few hours later, they would be standing in the backyard of a millionaire's mansion, digging through the ground and uncovering one of the most disturbing crime scenes Thailand had seen in years. Tonight, we're travelling to Bangkok to explore the case that locals would eventually call the House of Horror. Welcome to the podcast, You Can't Unhear. In 2020, Thai police arrested a 41-year-old man named Chaloem Choen Nabua on drug-related charges. At first, nothing about the arrest seemed unusual. Cases like this happened every day. But during questioning, Ngabua made investigators an unexpected offer. He claimed he possessed information about a far more serious crime. If police were willing to consider reducing his sentence, he would tell them everything he knew. Investigators listened. What he said sounded almost impossible. According to Ngabua, he had been working as a security guard for a wealthy businessman named Apichai Ongwisit. And during that time, his employer had forced him to help bury the body of a young woman inside the property's backyard. Naturally, detectives were skeptical. Confessions like these sometimes turned out to be desperate attempts to avoid prison. But Ngabua continued speaking. He knew details, locations and names that investigators couldn't ignore. The woman he described was a 22-year-old named Warren Thorne, better known by her nickname, Kukik. She was a young mother who worked as a model and bar employee after her marriage ended. Friends described her as outgoing and determined to build a better future for herself and her child. Eventually, she met Apichai. The relationship moved quickly. She moved into his luxurious home in Bangkok. From the outside, the house looked impressive. Large grounds, high walls, a swimming pool, the sort of place people associated with success. Behind those walls, however, investigators would later allege a very different reality. According to evidence presented in court, the relationship was marked by frequent arguments, drug use, and repeated violence. Nabua told investigators that one confrontation escalated beyond anything he had witnessed before. Prosecutors alleged that during an argument, Kukik told Apichai she wanted to leave the relationship. After that, she was never seen alive again. Investigators later concluded she died inside the property before being secretly buried in the backyard. If the story had ended there, it would already have been a tragic homicide investigation. But Nabua wasn't finished. He told police something that completely changed the direction of the case. According to his testimony, Apichai had once casually admitted that Kukik was not his first victim. At first, Nabua assumed his employer was exaggerating, perhaps trying to frighten him. But sometime later, Apichai allegedly asked him to help relocate older burial sites elsewhere on the property. When Nabua dug into the ground, he claimed he discovered human bones. That was the moment he realised those earlier comments may not have been fiction at all. Soon afterward, the relationship between the two men deteriorated. Ngabua said he was never paid the money he had been promised. An argument followed. He later claimed Apichai fired a gun at him during the confrontation. Ngabua escaped and never returned. Months later, after his own arrest, he finally decided to tell police everything. Investigators began examining Apichai's background. What they found immediately raised concern. Court records showed previous convictions involving drugs and violence. He had also faced criminal proceedings years earlier involving the abduction of a teenage girl. While those offences were unrelated to the current investigation, detectives believed they demonstrated a long history of violent behaviour. As journalists dug deeper, another unsettling detail emerged. Apichai's father had also been convicted in a notorious homicide decades earlier. Although each case was legally separate, the revelation attracted enormous public attention and intensified scrutiny surrounding the Ongwisit family. Police obtained a warrant and searched the mansion. Guided by Nabua's information, forensic teams began excavating the backyard. Before long, they found exactly what he had described: human remains consistent with Kukik's disappearance. For investigators, that alone justified the search. But the digging didn't stop. As excavation continued, more bones appeared, then more and more. By the end of the operation, forensic teams had recovered hundreds of skeletal remains scattered throughout sections of the property. The discovery stunned even experienced investigators. Media outlets across Thailand immediately began referring to the residence as the House of Horror. Forensic experts worked carefully to determine how many individuals might be represented by the remains and whether they were connected to criminal acts, historic burials, or other explanations. The investigation became increasingly complex as specialists analysed the evidence. News of the discovery spread rapidly. Neighbours began sharing stories they had never reported before. Some recalled seeing women regularly visiting the property. Others remembered hearing arguments. Several described seeing women leave the house with visible injuries. At the time, they hadn't imagined anything more serious was happening. Looking back, many wished they had spoken sooner. Families of missing women also began contacting investigators, wondering whether the discoveries at the mansion might finally explain years of unanswered questions. The investigation eventually led to formal charges centered on Kukik's death. Evidence presented in court included forensic findings, witness testimony, and Ngabua's cooperation with investigators. Apichai denied aspects of the allegations against him, but the court ultimately convicted him in connection with the murder. He received a life sentence. Ngabua, whose cooperation had helped uncover the case, received a reduced sentence under the agreement made with prosecutors. Perhaps the most remarkable part of this entire story is how close it came to remaining hidden forever. If Nabua had never been arrested on unrelated drug charges, if he had never decided to cooperate, police may never have searched that property. A routine narcotics investigation unexpectedly opened the door to something investigators had never anticipated. It became a reminder that sometimes the biggest cases begin with the smallest break. One traffic stop, one anonymous tip, one unexpected confession. And suddenly, an ordinary investigation becomes something no one could have imagined. Because behind the gates of what looked like an ordinary millionaire's mansion, investigators uncovered a secret that had been buried beneath the ground. A secret that transformed one house into one of Thailand's most infamous crime scenes. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe. I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.